All right, so I'm a bit late on this one. This is a little bit of commentary on the Dwayne Haskins situation. The NFL quarterback Dwayne Haskins, who was killed in a car accident. So I've got two takes. One, I'm going to talk about the post that Adam Schefter had that he got a lot of heat for. And number two, I'm going to talk about the actual incident itself. Probably shouldn't take too long. So here we go. So, Adam Schefter, what did he say? Sorry about all the coughing. I've got a very bad throat. So here we go. It says his second tweet, which has now been deleted, stated Dwayne Haskins, a standout at Ohio State before struggling to catch on with Washington and Pittsburgh in the NFL, died this morning when he got hit by a car in South Florida, per his agent Cedric Saunders. So everybody, and by everybody, obviously not everybody, but everybody was going on about how horrible it was that Adam Schefter said mentioned that he struggled to catch on with Washington and Pittsburgh, and it was an ultimate sign of disrespect. And that how could he do this? And what a racist, because he's just trashing this black quarterback who, you know, didn't make it very far in the NFL and was trying his best, but he just had some bumps or whatever the case might be. I have zero problem with Adam Schefter saying this. Okay, he says he was a standout at Ohio State, and then he mentions he got to the NFL, but he didn't have a lot of great success. But here you go. And earlier he said he was killed this morning when he got hit by a vehicle. Tragic. Okay, he's saying that it's a tragic circumstance. Absolutely, this is completely accurate. If somebody dies, you don't have to automatically go and rave about them and talk about how excellent and wonderful and fabulous they were and completely ignore the fact that what was he best known for? For most people, let's be serious. It was the fact that he went to Washington, he flamed out there, and then he went to Pittsburgh and he was a bit of a washout there. That's what most people knew him for. So I have no problem with this, and it's not a sign of disrespect to simply state these facts. This is okay. He struggled to catch on with them. There you go. No problem. So Adam Schefter, I know you don't give two craps what I have to say. You're gonna do your apologies. You're gonna say, "Oh, I'm so sorry, and I shouldn't have phrased it that way," and whatever, because you want to keep your career. Fair enough. But I gotta say that I had no problem with that. I think there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. Do I think that it's a glowing statement about him? No, but big deal. Who cares, right? Not everybody has to be effusive in their praise of someone just because that someone has died. Now we're going to move on to the next part. So the audio emerged from the day of his demise, and we got to hear sort of the audio. And it turns out that from what I understand, he ran out of gas and he was trying to cross the street and he got hit by a truck, and then that truck bumped him into something else and he was hit by the car. Now, at the risk of being morbid, that just sounds like something you would see in a Bugs Bunny cartoon or a Roadrunner cartoon, where it's like, pow, you get hit by one, knocked into the other one, pow, you get hit by that, right? It is a bit of a humorous situation with the way it happens. It doesn't take away from the tragedy, but I do believe that you can find humor in tragedy. And I think that that has been one of the great continuous things that we've seen throughout the history of humans on this planet is that when things are very grim and when there's a lot of negativity at bad situations, people are still able to make a joke. Now, here's my other question. I have to question this guy here. He's clearly a millionaire. Dwayne Haskins clearly is a millionaire. He made a lot of money. He was a very, very high pick. Can't remember if he was a number one pick, but he was definitely, I think, a first round pick. Uh, so why is this guy running out of gas in the first place? Because I get into my car and I have this big, huge gauge there that shows full all the way down to empty. And when it gets about halfway down or two-thirds of the way down, I do something very sensible. I drive myself to one of these things called a gas station. I get out, I slide my card into the slot, I enter all the information, I tell it how much I want to put in there, I pull my card out, and then I take the pump and fill it up with gas. And that's pretty much been going on now for like 30 years. Okay. So every time that happens, I just repeat the process. It's not that difficult. So And I do confess there was one time in my life that I have run out of gas, and that was when I was riding my motorcycle that didn't have a gas gauge on it, and I was carrying a passenger, so my fuel consumption went up because of the extra weight, but I didn't think about that as I was driving, and I accidentally ran out of gas. But that was one time, and that was when I was about like 18 years old. So since that moment, I have never run out of gas. So here's this guy who gets into his car, and I can only assume that it also has a fuel gauge on it that he can look at every single time he gets in there. Or if he's like, you know what, I can't be bothered to look at the fuel gauge. That's crazy. I'm not going to pay attention to it. He's rich enough, he can hire somebody to just come in and check his gas tank every day and make sure that there's gas in that car. So, how does this guy end up on the highway running out of gas? That just seems crazy, and nobody is mentioning it. Nobody has sort of said, what's going on with this guy? Why was he in the situation in the first place? This is why you look at the gas tank. This is why you fill up. So you never end up in this situation. I have to believe there was a gas station somewhere around him because you're probably never so far away from a gas station in North America. I mean, unless you're up in like a Nuvik or something. But generally speaking, if you're in any kind of major center, major population area, you're going to be within, 15, 20 minutes of a gas station. So when you get in there and you see that that gas gauge is on the E, you go, oh, you know what? I think I'll be, you know, 5 minutes late to wherever it is I'm going to go. Or I'm going to leave 5 minutes earlier and not be late. And I'm just going to swing by. I'm going to plug that nozzle in. I'm going to squeeze the trigger. Gas is going to come pouring out, fill up that tank, and then I won't have to worry about it for another, you know, 500, 600 kilometers, right? So I don't know what's going on with him. So he might have been a great Ohio State football star. Adam Schefter didn't have to just freaking dwell on that. He could also talk about the fact that he did flame out in these other teams. No big deal there. And why is this guy even running out of gas? If he just filled the tank, we wouldn't have to worry about it. It's not like he was the victim of just some accident where somebody came and ran into him while he was driving and couldn't really do anything. This was a completely avoidable situation. Again, doesn't take away from the tragedy of it. He's got a wife, he's got kids that are now left husbandless or fatherless. I don't know exactly the situation, but there you go. That's my thoughts on the situation.